Crystal. How are
Hello.
you? It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I have been following you for about 2 years.
Are you serious?
Yes, when I
Oh
first
my gosh.
started wanting to start a nonprofit, I went to YouTube and one of your videos was the first one, and I have been hooked
Oh,
on you ever since.
oh my gosh, that means so much. Oh my gosh.
You're
I'm so
amazing.
wait, so you've been thinking about starting this for 2 years? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, the other day you made a comment in a video about how you had waited and you wish that you hadn't, and it was just like, oh, I'm at that 2 year mark.
Exactly. And the reason was because I was doing my public relations business and, I had kids and stuff. And I know like life just gets in the way sometime, but you know what? Everything really starts after you get your 501c3. Like
Yeah.
that's the real deal. Like that's when really you're like building a business, and the idea of I just wish I had a different mindset, because the idea of actually
Yeah.
building what's fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about this question. Tell me all about what you're thinking. I love it.
Well, I have been doing some volunteer work with a local ministry
Okay.
that goes out to farmers that are local, and they allow them to harvest a certain portion of what they've yielded, and you can give it away as long as it's not sold. And
Yeah.
so we've worked with the ministry before, giving all different kinds of things. And my mother is who I'm partnering with. She is a retired social worker. So she has
Okay.
that spirit about giving and,
Yes.
stabilizing families. And that's exactly what we want to do with the nonprofit. And so it's
You
like,
and your mom, or you and your mom want to do this with the nonprofit?
yes.
Okay. Okay. Keep going. I'm listening.
So she has the experience of already stabilizing families. I'm actually a former pastry chef. I went to culinary school, kind of lost the desire. So
Oh
now,
my God.
but I still have that desire for, feeding people. And I have such that strong desire to just do. And
Yeah.
so we got the opportunity to assist, and this was around Thanksgiving. We've worked with the ministry before, but with us really working with them, going out to harvest everything, it was a totally different experience. And of course, being a chef, it kind of gave me that spark again. Um,
Yes.
just seeing it really growing from the ground and all that the families put into it, it's inspiring to me. And the fact that they allow us to come and give. I really, love that aspect
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Um, and the first time that we assisted with it, we were able to give to 46 families. And it was right before Thanksgiving. And we also were able to throw in some turkeys and a few hams. And so it was such a big push.
Yes. Yes.
So now it's like, let's do this. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and do this. And
Yeah.
this is the same idea that I had 2 years ago. It's just that now we had the opportunity to do the fresh food initiative, and it's like, let's go with this. So I guess my question would be, what I honestly want is to create a full program that
Yeah.
allows us to be able to distribute food to certain neighborhoods, but I would love to really give them what they need. Do
Yeah.
they need a place to stay? Okay, can we link up with this person here? Can we? A lot of the shelters in our area have been closed down, so there is a need. Um, and I don't know, it's like there's so much, where do I start? And I know I can't encompass everything right away, but we're starting with the fresh food, and then hopefully we can build from there.
Well, here's where I would tell you to start. The first thing you're going to do is, honestly, everybody needs a strategic vision.
Mm-hmm.
So really it starts with pen and paper. I mean, I know this sounds so simple, but it really does. It's like write it all down, like or type it, whatever works best.
Mm-hmm.
Write it all down, get it all out, and basically you're creating your program from the start, right? Like from just your thoughts, because that's what I think sometimes like everybody forgets. No one's
Right.
done this before. Right?
Right.
What you're trying to do, no one's done before. So you have to get it out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
So step by step. And then after you've written it out, like you just dream really big, write out, this is the vision. Like this is what's on the horizon. Okay. This is not like,
Right.
this is not tactical yet. So just write it all out. Do you have a little one over there? I see you like
Yes, he's at the window and he keeps tapping on the window.
Oh, he can come over and say hi.
He's gone. Now the moment's passed.
I saw you. I know that look. That's why I'm like, you have a little one back there.
Yes. He's 6 and he was standing at the window.
I love it. That's so cute. Oh my gosh. So start there. And then the next thing you would do is you would choose a thing that you could start immediately. Like,
Okay.
what is the one thing that you can start? Because the idea is to keep it really lean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go with the most minimum viable product. Like, what is it that you could, out of all those things, that you can go to this place, this farmer, and that you can go get the food and you can hand that out.
Right.
Right. And you don't have to have anything else going on, but that's the start of your program.
Right.
Okay. Now, when you go to write your mission might sound a little bit different, because your mission's not going to say like, we go get food and hand it out, but your mission might be like, we, focus on providing the needs of the community via housing, this, and this, whatever the 3 things are. You said food distribution,
yes.
Transitional homes, and shelters. So
yes.
You would put that into your mission, because overall, that's the main mission of what you want to do. Or we want to be able to help sustain families through food, shelter, and housing, or however you want to say it. But what it comes down to is you want to be able to provide sustainability to families.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. That's it. Yes.
Yeah. And so your mission is always going to be it needs to just be what you do and who you do it for is most important. Okay. And when you're in that course, I do walk you through all of that, exactly what to say in your mission and like what a vision is and all of that kind of stuff. But the idea is that, yes, you just want to get all of this out of your head and on paper. And I will tell you the truth, like what I wrote on paper and what actually became of my organization. Right. Things, and the reason is because you're going to get input from other people. You're going to see that there's sometimes organizations that are already doing a specific area,
right?
What you wanted to do, and then you may decide, what makes me different is that we connect with the transitional homes in our area. Like maybe you locate all of them, and you have a place, but you don't have your own transitional home right away.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You start out with a big idea, and then you focus on what's the starting point of that idea. Where can I actually get started and really make this happen without, without any real infrastructure? And sometimes I'll talk to people and they'll say, oh, I really want to, start a halfway house. But maybe you don't have the infrastructure just yet to start a halfway house, or you don't have enough money, or you don't have, the wherewithal to buy a home to do this yet.
Right.
But you partner up and you connect. And that to me is really the beauty of a social impact business, because that's what we do, And
I love that networking factor. I really do. We do a lot in the community, between church and just other things that other people are doing, wherever we can assist. And this is that first thing where it's just like, we have that desire, and now who do we connect with? Who can we partner with? Exactly. I would love to continue working with other churches and allow, them to be able to pass on what we're able to harvest to their members.
Yes.
And especially, I guess the one thing that really, of course, when you do for others, you do have that that part of you that feels good about doing. But with everything that everyone has gone through, there were so many families that were so appreciative, because with COVID going on, they had not worked since the shutdown of everything.
Oh my
And
God.
it was right before Thanksgiving. So it was such a, in this moment, thank you so very much, because we didn't think we'd be able to do dinner. And, you know,
Ugh,
it drives you. It really drives you to want to do more.
it does.
Um, and so now, yeah, I think that the churches and partnering with other people in the community, that's what we've been looking at. What other programs? There is another local nonprofit. I live in Virginia, in the Norfolk, Virginia area. And so there is another nonprofit. I have so many files of
I know.
of
I got you.
Yes, and it's like everything has a tab, like, other nonprofits, or, anyone else that's doing this. And I mean, you're right. Everything that I've put down before, like, it starts to change now that we're in this. Okay, what are we doing? What are we going to do? What
Yes.
can we do? Um, and so today, reserve the name. We're hoping for embracing our community.
I love
Um,
it.
and so, it's a family legacy type thing. My mom's my grandparents, they pretty much welcomed anybody, and so that embrace has definitely been something I grew up with.
Yeah.
And so, especially now, it's difficult, the social distancing, but we want to embrace our community in any way we can. And
Yeah.
so that's
I love
where we
it.
are.
You
Yeah.
working with maybe like, I mean, God, you can work with restaurants that get rid of their food. You know,
Yes.
you can work with teens from the high school to have them help you deliver the food and, make that kind
Right.
of like their volunteer action, like the hours that they need sometimes for college. I
Okay.
mean, there are so many things that you can do when you start to think of the power of connecting people and connecting purpose, right? And not thinking
Okay.
you have to be the only one doing this one thing. Like you can
Right.
be connector, the connecting piece for everyone in your community.
Right.
And
I
so
think,
no,
go
no, go
ahead.
ahead. No.
In talking to others, it's almost like becoming a hub, the resource hub, and be able to assist. My mother's experience with being a social worker, she would assist people with finding jobs and helping them to find homes and, get a place to stay. And, right now you might have to couch surf, but there's a spot
Right.
coming up, later here. So,
That's
we do have that experience,
yes.
to pass on. And she's retired now, and I am a stay-at-home mom and an entrepreneur. So it's like we have the time to invest into making it possible. She has the experience, we have this desire, and so we're trying to roll with it. We're pushing it out
You're
there.
doing a great job. I want you to
Yeah.
keep going with that. And I just really and truly, I want you to just write it down. You have to write
Hmm.
it down because when you're full of all of the feels and the
Yes.
thoughts and stuff, they seem
Yeah.
so grand and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to get there? But when you write it
Hmm.
all down and you look at it, you're like, okay, we've hit this milestone. Like we've done this. Now we got to do
Yeah.
this. Now we got to do that, And that's with every business. So I love the position that you guys are in right now and you have time.
Yeah.
Like by the time you're ready to really, I mean, not to say that you're going to be ready to launch in like 30 days if you go through the course and just get through it. Okay. But what I mean is like by the time you're ready to maybe do your first event or you're ready to start
Hmm.
selling something or ready to start creating some sort of sustainability, we will be hopefully out of this, right? And
Yes.
people will be ready to, support and want to know what you're doing. And you will have a good grasp of what your organization's all about. That's
Hmm.
why the mission is important, obviously, but that mission encompasses so many other things. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you can add all of that stuff in there that you were talking about because
Hmm.
it's going to encompass a lot. Like if it's really called just we want to embrace our community and give them a way to sustain themselves, however that wording is going to be,
Yes.
there'll be strong words in there that will allow you to encompass all of the transitional housing, the food, the you know anything that will go into how you're going to help these families.
Right.
and then spending that next year to really kind of get the word out and, maybe do an event, or, I mean, gosh, you guys could even teach people how to garden out of their own homes,
Right. Yes, that's something else that I thought about too.
Yeah.
Working with the farmers, like this
Yeah.
could be, something. We're actually doing our first fundraiser this weekend.
Oh, what?
Um, this week almost. Are you familiar with yak?
No,
You know what yak?
I don't know what that is.
So yak is it's a noodle dish, and I don't know
Oh,
if it's just local here in our area. Um,
yeah.
but we're gonna do a yak sale. I'm gonna post about it today. I've already created the flyer. And so how it's going to assist us, it's our first fundraiser to help raise money for the nonprofit that we're starting. This is my first time gonna, put it out there to everyone else, other than the,
Right.
word of mouth, the back and forth I've done with a few people. But if they purchase a 32-ounce container for $10, then we'll ask if they'd like to donate an additional $5. And a 16-ounce container is going to be given to our homeless community. So, it's a way for us to get out there, homeless or in need,
I
because
love
sometimes you might know a family that may be struggling, and can pass on a meal to them for the night, and it'll be a warm meal. And so
it.
that's what we're doing. So I'm posting it after
Are
I
you,
get off
are
this
you doing
line.
pre-orders? Are you doing pre-orders, or are you going to like have it all made and then hope people purchase it? How are you going to do that?
We're taking orders online all
Okay.
week. They have
Okay.
until 5 o'clock on Friday, and then everyone's going to meet at a local church to pick up.
I
So
love it. I love,
it's our
what? That
first
would
one.
actually be very cool. I don't know is it like spaghetti, or like what is?
It's like there's noodles. There's noodles that get cooked into a broth. It's like 2 boiled chicken wings, 2 boiled eggs. It gets onions and ketchup mixed in, and then you have your cayenne pepper and soy sauce on the side to mix in. So that's why I said I think it might be a local thing, because everyone
Oh my gosh, it sounds good though. I'm like, my mouth is watering. I'm like, Ashley, close your mouth. Okay, I love that. That's very cool. I love that
yeah,
too. I
we're
think,
excited.
yeah, I think that's
And
going
it
to be.
took us a while to find a location that would let us, use their parking lot. Pretty much, we just need a drive-through. No money is being exchanged, on site.
Online.
Yes, but I'm just so happy because so many other people, they were like, well, what are you trying to do? And what is this?
Oh, I think it's very cool. I mean, so you'll just have to, maybe make a bowl of it to
Yeah.
show what it is and like talk about the ingredients or something, or like why it's so yummy. I don't know. But
Yes.
you have to get people, that will be the biggest switch, is like, what is it? Unless people there
Yes.
really know. But like, God, you could do that with your schools, if you send out the flyers home to schools. I don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
if that works or not, or if you can, but that's a
Well,
good way.
what we're gonna do, I made the flyer, it's digital, we've got the QR code to take you over to the order form. All of those things are situated. I'm sorry.
It's
Okay.
You talking?
He's he's really concerned. I think he saw a little spider. I think he thinks it's in here, but I'm not
Oh,
so that's why he keeps coming to the
it's like,
window.
Mom, pick up your feet.
Yes. But we've got the flyer made, the QR code. We've got the system in place to be able to take the orders. And word of mouth, people are already, let me know. I'll order 4, get 4 orders. Like they're ready. And I think
that's clear that you're going to give those 16-ounce away to people.
Yes.
Like, make that like super clear, because
Right.
like buy one, give one, or something like that.
Right.
For free or something, like something to kind of let people know, like, oh wow, I'm going to be supporting this. And I think it's going to be great. I love that idea. I really do.
And
That's
I have so many more fundraising ideas from listening to your videos.
Oh my God. I'm so happy. That makes me so happy.
Yes.
He really will be to write all of this down. And when I say big, like, write down your thing, have your mom write down her thing, like what she envisioned. Right. And you guys sit down together and talk about like, okay, if we created a mission, what would that mission be? That would really encompass everything, right? And then talk about what's the one thing that we can start doing immediately.
Mm-hmm. You know? Which is our food.
Yes. And then just keep building on that. Like, you know, just, you can sit and do that. You can just, and what's going to happen is the more you start working with other organizations, the more you start like talking, you know, to your mom, seeing how the program is actually working with even just the one thing that you do, you'll start to see the information that you need. So like for my organization, what we've been in business for what I want to say since 2013. So was that 7, 8 years? 8, right? Yeah. And one of the things that we just realized, which is horrible, but we've just realized like we need a survey of our kids, you know, to be able to tell people like, here is the impact, like, here's what's happening. Right.
Right.
But you sometimes are so deep in what you're doing every day that you don't realize that you need a survey yet, or you don't realize that, you know, you can teach them how to farm their own food.
Right.
You know? I mean, there are so many possibilities, Crystal, like, so, you know? And even like as a pastry chef, I mean, gosh, you could have your own like YouTube channel teaching people what to do with food, like just because these come down to the basic ingredients, right? Like you need, and you know, flour and things that people can go to the store and purchase for a low amount, and they can make a meal for their family. Like you have a whole series on that, you know, I mean, just like there's so much you can do, you know. And then your mom can talk about like the sociological aspects of what happens when a family has a meal to provide, you know, just how that one piece of the familial structure can make such a difference, you know? So there's a lot that you guys can do. There's a lot that you can put into your newsletter for your donors to understand where these people are coming from and why it's so important for them to help. You have a lot you can do, but you got to write all this stuff down. That is number one. Like, and I'm like, I need to make this into a video because this is truly the stuff that people need to hear. Like, I don't know this sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, what should I tell people this week? You know? But that was a great question.
You know, when we're in like this, like the early stage, I feel like, you know, I've been in the idea phase for so long, and now it's like, okay, well, what are we going to do? So like today when I went and reserved the name, like I think I watched another video of yours about that recently, and it's like, reserve the name, like do something towards it, you know, other than continuing to keep it all in. And I've done the brain dump. Yes, I need to take action. So I've done the brain dump, and now it's like sorting through the brain dump. And okay, let's move these things from here to here.
Yes, exactly. And if you've already done the brain dump, that's awesome. So then the next piece of that really is just deciding the one thing that you can start to do right now that doesn't require, you know, any big infrastructure. Like if you wanted to, you could go out and do it tomorrow. Right. That one thing is food. Okay. Because I mean, and the other part of that too is like you could tell people they can donate by purchasing a gift card, or like to a local store, or partnering with a store and they give you a discount, and maybe you go there and purchase the food for a certain number of families. And I think we have another organization that actually does something similar to that. I know they go to the grocery store and they were like, oh, what do you think a family needs, or something on social media? And it was good. It was a good post. And so, you know, my point is you've got a great infrastructure. Like, you know what you're trying to do. Just don't stop. Just keep going. Like, you know, like, get through. Don't let this startup phase last forever, because really, you know, that's why the 30 days thing is so like, just get it done. Spend 30 days, turn in all the stuff, and then really focus on like, then you're in that building phase of building your business. You know what I mean? And that doesn't, that phase never really ends. Like you
because it's ever changing.
You go into the maintaining phase for like one portion of it, and then you go back into the building phase for something else. And
Yes.
so it's just a really fun time when you get to that building phase, because
Right.
you're in charge, like you're in control of what's going to happen to your program and how you're going to be affecting people, how you're going to make an impact, how you're going to make an income.
Right.
And I never want you to forget about that income piece. Like keep that at the forefront. Okay.
Right.
Like even though impact is huge, keep it at the forefront. So even with what you're doing right now, which I love what you're doing, because it's got such a, it's got a, what's the other side? It's twofold. You know, you are setting up where you're going to be giving and making an impact. People are getting what they want. It's threefold actually. And you're making an income so that you can pay for your nonprofit. Like, I'm so proud of you. I love what you set up. And for all of you guys watching on the replay, like that is something to absolutely keep in mind. Like, I love that you're doing that, because most people set up something and then it's, you know, they want to make money, but you still have to pay for your expenses. And then you show up with a lot less than you were hoping, but you're taking care of everything.
Yeah. And you know, the dish, again, it's a local dish that most people, you know and love here. And it's noodles, it's chicken, it's boiled eggs, you know, like it's not a costly thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and so it's like, yeah, we can go and get these things and, you know, create these orders and, you know, bust it out. And, you know, I'm reapplying for my food handler's card and getting everything in order. You know, it's really been since November, we've been thinking about this thing, and it's like, this is it. Now we have a location that agreed to let us use their property. Let's go ahead, you know, like get it out there. Because you have to take the first step. And we've been like, well, I don't know. And now
that's always the case. I mean, it really is. And you kind of just need somebody to just like push you a little bit, and like however that comes to you. You know, my husband is the person that did that for me. I kept saying like, I'm going to create a brochure, and I'm going to create this, and I'm going to create. And he's like, stop creating brochures, just go out there and start it. And I was like, oh my God, okay.
Right. And I do that a lot. I feel like I need to have a lot of things in place before I can take the step. Yeah. So, you know, today was the day where I'm like, all right, I'm going to announce it. We got everything finalized, I think, on Thursday last week. So we got it finalized. Okay. Valentine's Day was Sunday. I won't do it on Valentine's Day. Monday. I'm going to announce it on Monday. And then I went ahead and I reserved the name. Okay. So now I need to announce. So
that's right. I love it. Yes. And just put it out there, because you will be amazed at what's going to come back. One of the people in the course, not the Unleash Your Purpose course, but the Unleash Your Profit course, she actually hadn't put it out yet. I was like, girl, like if we're going to be working on your profit, like you got to put that stuff out there. She put it out in the day. She put it out $6,000.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't believe it. Oh yeah. Did you watch that one with Chantel?
No, I didn't. But the concept is like, people are waiting. Yes. They don't know, you know, and I think, with our nonprofit, people want to be able to assist, but they don't know how, you know, and they don't mind helping if they know. And once we started posting and doing our live video while we were handing out everything and just, you know, letting people know we were set up here, come on out, and it's open for anybody. When we have all of the food, it's just like, we just need people to come and get it.
Yes, so, exactly. Yes. But you're focusing on people that are from low income.
Yes.
Okay. And so you want them to come get the food. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. We set up at a mall that has a really huge parking lot the first 2 times that we did it. And, you know, it was great. You know, we were right there kind of like by the bus line. So people were getting off the bus and, you know, they were picking up what they could. And, you know, we just want to give.
No, I love it. I love it. I think you're doing great. Like I really, you've got it. If you've got the big vision written down, that's awesome. You've got your mission. Now you just need to focus on what your priorities are going to be. Like what are your first And obviously your number one thing is going to be to get this nonprofit off the ground, like get it going, just get it solidified, and this is going to be huge. So yeah, when you write it up, just say like, I hope you're going to say like, this is our fundraiser to get our nonprofit off the ground. And you might also even want to consider calling it a social impact business instead of a nonprofit specifically. And then just talk about what it is that you're trying to do. Because you are going to need to, you want to run it like a business. You want to think like that. You want to run it like that. What was going to be kind of like your monetization process for being able to get it, make money for your organization?
So I was, we can't sell the food that we harvest.
Yeah, right.
What I was how I was going to spin it was any other businesses and churches, they would be able to pay us for going to go harvest and bring it to them to distribute to their people.
Okay.
But I don't know if that is a fine line for making a profit, as a nonprofit.
I would probably tell you not to do that. Just because, well, it's twofold kind of, because one, like, I don't know if they would want to do that, right? They feel like, okay, we can have the manpower and do it ourselves. And two, it kind of takes away from the idea of what the farmers are wanting people to do, right?
Right.
You're making a profit off of it somehow. But okay, do you have any other options on like what you would do as a profit, just like as part of your sustainability plan for your overall business? Like are you thinking about making a profit?
That I don't know. Because I'm not confused by how to make money as a nonprofit. But how to make that, how to monetize what we're doing. That's where I'm confused by.
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that you have to remember when you're trying to make a profit in a social impact business like this, and especially more specifically a nonprofit, is that you can have unrelated, business income. Okay. So it just can't be like the full focus of your nonprofit. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be doing that more than you carry out your actual business, charitable side. So as an example, something for you would be like, every Saturday I put on a pastry class as a pastry chef. People can come and they can learn how to cook whatever it is that you're teaching that day. If, I'm just giving you an example.
Right. Yeah.
But since that's a skill that you have, you could do that. Or like if your mom was putting on workshops for something related to sociology or something, and people paid to come and do that. Like those are things that are unrelated, but you're using this skill and people are going to pay you and it's part of your nonprofit. Like it's an activity from your nonprofit that you do, that you offer to the public. But it's not like directly helping someone. Does that make sense? Like it's not directly helping your population, your client population.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of one of the differences. You have like an ideal customer, which your customer is more of the random person out there that may not know anything about your business, but might really want to make pastries. And because they're making pastries, they are supporting your business. Okay.
Right.
The idea would be to transfer them from, or not transform them from a customer to a donor. That's your job, is to like then connect that customer to your purpose. Okay. And so that's kind of where, this is one of the main things that we really talk about in the Unleash Your Profit course. But you wouldn't, you're not really to join that one until after you do the Unleash Your Purpose, because I want to make sure you have your 501c3 before you start focusing on this. I'm just telling you because I want you to start to think about what are the things that I can do to really sustain the organization outside of like your program, the programmatic side of what you're going to be doing. right?
Okay.
I want you to think about that in relation to if you start your one thing, right? You're going to have one more thing that's going to be your sustainability side, right? Like you're going to be doing
Right.
things kind of in tandem with each other. So
Okay.
even if it was like you guys always do this, yeah, it's called yak.
Okay. Yak.
Yak? Is it called yak? It's yak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yock. Yak.
Oh, okay, yak. Okay, really so. Okay, so let's just say like you decided every quarter we're gonna do a yak sell every quarter.
Right.
And that yak sell brings in approximately, let's say $500. Let's just say, I don't know, 1,000, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, whatever. Um, and that's part of your sustainability plan. So
Mm-hmm.
now you're thinking of it as just like a one-off to pay for the startup,
Yes.
but it really could become part of just what you do as your nonprofit. Like the nonprofit becomes known for this, like, oh yeah, they're having their yak sell or they're having their yak,
Right.
whatever. And then it's just like in a cycle of what you do,
Right.
for your organization. So those are the types of things that we would think about. And I want you to think about for your sustainability plan and how much, is reasonable. What do you really need to make at the end of the year? Like start to look at that stuff because that'll tell you the types of things that you need to be thinking about
Right.
when you're creating your not necessarily your mission, but also your vision. Like when you're looking at your vision, what do you see as far as how we make money and how much money we bring in and who's getting paid, who's not getting paid, those types of things.
Right. And you
Yeah.
did ask before we had gotten off about the board of directors. So
Yes. Yes.
we have started to list who we'd like to be on our board. We want to fill 5 spots. So my mom is going to be on the board, and I'm going to pretty much run the nonprofit. So I know you talked about the less than 1%. Say it again.
I said you'll be considered staff. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a second social worker that we want to have on the board. So they pretty much worked hand in hand while my mom was working. And he's retiring this summer. And so, he's already said, yes, I'll help you, I'll assist you. He ran a different program. So that's more information that we have, to help us guide us through this, and when you talk about being an advisory board versus a working board, we'd like to have the advisory board in place. Because we're doing so much with the community and they have that experience of what are the real needs of our community.
Yes. And so part of that is you might want to consider doing a needs assessment.
Okay.
And sometimes that's bringing like the police officer, the police chief, and the city hall and, the mayor and like people like that into the same room and really figuring out like, what is it that we need, or working with other heads of organizations to figure out exactly what it is that you need and what does the community need, as a whole that we can do in these areas, just, bringing together an advisory council for your area. That's another huge piece of what you could be doing to, help your community,
Right.
Say that's something that you start and coordinate as an advisory council. Now, one thing you said of advisory board versus working board, what did you decide? Are you going to try to have a working board or an advisory board?
I would like an advisory board, because we have, I don't, because we're not really like doing a lot yet. So when we go out to the farms, it is their actual home. So the staff that can go with us is limited because they want to keep their privacy.
Absolutely.
And so when we're doing those things, I might be able to bring a few more people along with us. But as far as our board goes, I thought since they've got that inside plug to the community's needs, they could help advise us on the things that we would need to do.
Yeah, I absolutely 100% agree with that. I always think you should keep your board separate from what you're doing with maybe a volunteer.
Right.
You have a list of volunteers and you guys can, say we can take 2 this week and 2 next week or whatever. and they can sign up for that, or you can send to whatever you want to do. But I would absolutely have a place for volunteers, and I would have a place for your board. And your board, you know, if they want to come at some point and you throw that out there, totally fine. But I do think that just kind of giving that reverence to your board makes a big difference, right? Like, hey, you guys are the board. Like, you guys are like oversight.
Right.
And they really take a little bit more ownership of the organization as opposed to, you know, like marching orders. Does that make sense? Like,
right. Yes.
So I love that you're in that place. I love that you and your mom have decided that you guys are going to have one of you on the board and one of you off the board as a staff member.
Yes.
So that means that now I just want you to remember this too and think about this. Now that means that you will not have voting rights as a member. Okay, I just want to make sure. I got to say it because I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. I think it's really hard for founders to not do that, not be on the board. I really do. So I think it's a good decision that you're putting your mom on there instead of yourself, because of course you'll be attending all the meetings. Of course you'll speak to your mom and things like that, but you trust your mom enough to go in there and make decisions on your behalf and for the organization.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why with the members that we've already talked to, that we would, you know, like to ask, and those that we've, you know, talked to about it and they want to assist, they understand our passion, and they, you know, are excited about it, and you know they want to help drive it. And it's not just my mom and then the other social worker, but also one of our local doctors that I've spoken to. She's been wanting to do things with the community, and so she's like, let me know when you get it up and going, you know. So I'm thinking about asking her whether or not she would want to be a partner with us, or whether she would want to place on the board, because I don't want her to want to do and, you know, be more on the advisory board instead of being able to really be out there with us and assisting. And
well, remember that your advisory board still can go out with you. But that would be their choice. Like,
right.
I just always worry that people are putting people on boards that they want to do work. And I'm like, you know, I mean, her opinion will be huge, and she'll be a big, that will be huge to have a doctor on your board, I think, you know, because they look at different demographics and they see different ways that people are affected and can really offer a different perspective, you know, to how you're going to embrace the community. Right. The other thing now, the other thing how often are you guys planning to meet?
I was going to choose once a quarter, but then also have like a flexible date where if there's something coming up, then we will be able to do a meeting and say, hey, something else is coming up within the next 3 weeks. You know, can we do a meeting, you know, in about a week, you know, just to kind of keep you abreast of what's going on.
And what you'll find by doing that, I think that's great, by the way. I'm a fan of the quarterly meetings. Okay. They're busy. And like, you're in the building stages, and you could even say, you know, for the first year, we're going to have, like, you could say monthly check-ins or something. You could call it like that. But we're going to have quarterly meetings, and the check-in would be like, hey, here's what's going on right now. If you see that you need to have a meeting, you can call a meeting, you know, but you should be in advance. Like, you need to let them know at least a month in advance that there might be a meeting next month. Yeah. But definitely the quarterly, I feel like it's much easier to get people onto your board with a quarterly meeting schedule than monthly. So I think you're off to a great start. I think you're going to be great. The doctor is awesome. The sociologists are awesome. You know, I mean, anyone else that you can get on, maybe like a school board official or a police officer or something that, you know, will be interacting with your type of client that you're looking for. A pastor, you know, anybody, like the church that you're dealing with right now. If you know at the church, you can ask them to volunteer if you'd like, if you feel comfortable with that, or you know, I think you're on the right track, girl. You
Thank
do it.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had a great mentor.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you are so sweet. Oh my gosh. Well, I just want you get this thing started. Like you're getting your money. You're
Yes.
you're gonna do your stuff, all the steps. I want to see like what would this be? Mid-March. You should be done.
Okay.
We may not have the
So,
certificate yet, but you'll be like, I filed, okay?
yes. Now I do have a quick question about fundraising. Is it too much to do a monthly fundraiser?
It's okay. So my personal, yes, I would say personally, yes. Like I
Okay.
would not want to do that. However, if you have the wherewithal to do that and you think that is it going to be the Yock thing?
Not the, well, I was considering doing the Yak every third weekend.
Yeah.
But I like you saying maybe once a quarter, and it'd be something that people would look forward to.
Yeah.
Um, but then I was also considering getting back in the kitchen and baking loaf cakes, just the little 1 pound aluminum foil ones, and sell
Yeah.
those. And,
Yeah.
so like each month do a different thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got things planned like a carnival and do like the carnival themed food. And
I love
we've already written down all these things
Yes.
we would love to do. But I
Yes.
didn't know if a fundraiser every month is excessive.
Um, it's not excessive if I mean, seriously, like the only answer I could give you is it's not excessive if you think that you can make it work. If that,
Okay.
so what I'm trying to say is like, if that's part of your strategy where, this is what we do to sustain ourselves, and every
Mm-hmm.
month that you're going to bring in, $300 to $500, and every, that's like $6,000 a year, 500 every month, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you know that it's going to make sense and you think that you have the time and the
Mm-hmm.
wherewithal and the infrastructure to make that happen, do it.
Right.
And try it. Like maybe at first you do every other month and then you say like, hey, people are really loving this. Like
Right.
this thing, then do it again. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Okay.
there is no wrong way to do this, Crystal. Like you
Okay.
are in charge of this. You have to speak to your donors. Like
Okay.
find out what they want. Like talk to somebody in your area once you do the Yak.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to them, like, would you want that every month, or would you like wait for the feedback, see what they say, and see,
Right.
like what the response is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, like what you're like, if I told you like, yeah, monthly is excessive. If I told you that, but your people really love Yak and you're saving them a million, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
I mean, why would we leave money on the table? Absolutely.
Right.
Just do what you think is best. And if you feel like getting in the kitchen and cooking the little loaves, just make them. Just go make them and then sell them. Now, where would you sell them?
Setting up like how we're going to do for the Yak sale, and set up at a church to do the distribution. Yeah, because everything's, we mostly doing everything out of our house, for
Yeah.
now. And so it would be partnering somewhere else, like how I stopped up at the mall and they allowed me to use their parking lot. And,
Yeah.
it would be different locations.
Can you go to like the farmer's market?
Say that again.
Can you join like a farmer's market and just do that?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, because see, like that's not hurting anybody if you take it and it's a monthly thing, right? To the farmer's market.
Right.
And we're at the farmer's market this week or whatever. It doesn't hurt you. I mean, my only reservation on monthly is I know you're a mom. I know you've got a husband. I know you've got a life outside of this. And so and you're trying to start a nonprofit. I just want to make sure you're not adding too much pressure on yourself.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
making sure that there's no burnout there, like
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And because then you're setting a precedent, right? You're saying, hey guys, I'm going to be here every month, but really like maybe next month is just not going to work, like
right. Yeah.
The farmer's market,
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
just
we'll play that by ear.
Yeah. Yeah. Plan on maybe like the Yak every 3 months if it's not hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe in addition to your Yak sale, you add in maybe you add in like 4 slices of the cakes into each one. family and
Yeah.
they can taste it. And if they like it, then they can say, you can put it in order for that. Like, you know, I
Right.
mean, you're in control, girl. You are in the driver's seat, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
Yes,
you.
of course. No, this is so awesome. I think I'm just going to change my format to this. I love this. Like, this makes me happy.
It's a good back and forth. And
Yeah,
especially when we're thinking, and as you say things, there's so many times in your videos when it's like I'll have a question off of that, you know, but it's, you know, we just keep writing the notes. And I mean, I have a whole notes with Ashlee Tate on my laptop.
oh
So
my
every
gosh.
time I watch something, like I move it over to this category. So like when you talk about like getting your business plan, and you know, when you talk about the board of directors, I have a board of directors part of the page where it's everything about them. And so I like the back and forth because
I do too.
I'm watching and it's like, okay. And I
Yeah.
like that you can elaborate. So yes.
Yes. Yeah, because there's a natural dialogue, like when you're watching a video or you're taking in any sort of information online, like reading something.
Right.
And I think like these moments when we're going back and forth and people can see what you're thinking too in the starting phase, I think it's just a lot easier for people to identify with that as opposed to, you know, reading your comment and then trying to answer it, but then I don't have all the information, and, you know.
Right.
So yeah, no, I think I'm
And
definitely.
especially monetizing what we're doing, because that was a big question mark of, you know, the nonprofit is here to serve the community, but how can we bring in money to be able to do that?
Exactly.
And so
Exactly. And that's honestly why, like, I mean, that is why I created the entire course, that Unleash Your Profit course, because there are so many questions on that and people really don't understand, like, yeah, but this is a business. Like, you still have to
right.
make it work. Like, you know, your husband is going to support you, of course, like, it's,
Yes.
you know, super amazing. Your mom's going to support you, but like at some point you're gonna be like, we need to be bringing in some money here.
Right.
Because it becomes a lot of, it becomes, you pour everything into this and you
Yes.
have to have something back, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, well, no, you got it. I want to hear the update. And when you put out your flyer, put it up in the social life too. Like, this is good stuff to see. And like, we're here to root you on and we want to see what you're doing. You know, like sometimes we get into our little silos and I know you guys are all doing so much. Like it can be tough sometimes.
Yes.
So,
But I will make sure I post it. My
okay.
phone is at 5%, so I
Yeah,
have to pop
go.
off now.
Yeah, we go. We're going. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
No. Well, you have a remarkable week and go be with your little boy. He sounds
Thank
so
you. You too.
okay. Bye,
Okay.
guys.
Bye-bye.